The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project is demanding answers from Nigeria's 36 state governors over the use of security vote allocations received since May 29, 2023. And a Freedom of Information request dated June 28th and signed by SERAP's Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare. The organization is urging the governors to publicly disclose how the funds have been spent. They are also calling for anti-corruption agencies, specifically the EFCC and ICPC, to be granted access to monitor and investigate the spending. SERAP expressed concern over what it described as a persistent failure by many state leaders to channel these funds toward genuinely improving security. The group warns that the lack of transparency surrounding security votes has opened the door to corruption and weakened public oversight. The organization is giving governors a 7-day deadline to comply if they fail to respond. SERAP says it will head to court to compel disclosure. Still on security, Chief of Defense Staff General Christopher Musa has inaugurated Student Against Violent Extremism during the multi-sector conference in Maiduguri, designed to engage young scholars in the fight against extremist ideologies circulating in the Northeast. Speaking to multiple stakeholders, from students to the military, civil society organizations and community leaders, General Musa emphasized that youth-led initiatives are essential in reshaping community narratives as well as ensuring peace. News Central's Umaru Kirawa completes the report.
The echoes of the conflict in Nigeria's northeast is gradually fading away, with communities being resettled to pick up the pieces of their lives. A newly formed group, Student Against Violent Extremism, an initiative that seeks to persuade individuals against terrorism and radicalization, here being inaugurated by Nigeria's Chief of Defense.
The non-kinetic effort does a lot, and youths play a major role in that non-kinetic effort. And that's why we have this event today, to be able to bring out the youth. And you can see the groups that have been formed. They will go around because they are also meeting together with their fellow youths and be able to talk to them on the issue of all of them not agreeing anybody to radicalize them, for them to support the security forces, for them to do things right so that Nigeria can be better.
The only thing I want the Nigerian society to know is that terrorism is like cancer. It regenerates. So we must get to the roots and cut it off before it will end.
This initiative and also brought the civil societies and also the youth, Borno Youth Parliaments on board, so that we can work hand in hand together to see that at least we have play critical roles also, to not to allow just the federal and the state governments to just do it alone.
Focused on building resilience against violent extremism through youth engagement, stakeholders called on Nigerian youth to embrace peace building through education.
As for us from the Youth Assembly of Nigeria, we are engaging the community leaders and traditional leaders in the community to see that we sensitize the young people in peace bringing in our communities.
The youths are leaders of the tomorrow. They are the ones to shape the community in the near future. So imbibing this kind of character in them now, it will going to actually help in having a robust and one community in the society.
I must say that this is a very good initiative, and from our side, we will take this up, we'll take it very serious, and we will wish that the Chief of Defense Staff, alongside with some of the security advisors from the Northeast region, will intensify and domesticate this across all the region.
The persuasive means of encouraging the surrender of terrorists has led to over 300,000 voluntarily surrendering. What remains now is for the government to ensure extremism of any form is minimized to its lowest ebb. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
And Umaru Kirawa joins me live now to speak more on this. First of all, good afternoon to you and happy Sunday. Looking bright for Sunday. Let's get started, really. This fight against extremism, how dire is the situation? Let's start there.
Well, the situation is a very well-known situation. It's crystal clear from what the Chief of Defense Staff is saying, that they need to devise several mechanisms in order to tackle the issues of banditry, insurgency, and of course, terrorism in Nigeria, and particularly in the northeast region that has taken over a decade years, experiencing killings, maiming, and so on and so forth, which led to the enlistment of even the terrorist group as the third most deadliest terrorist organization across the globe by the Global Terrorism Index. And as such, while there is a relative peace in most communities and some of them are being resettled to pick up the pieces of their lives, to farm, to do trans-border business and so on and so forth, there are certain issues that really need to be addressed, which the Chief of Defense Staff now is deploying what is known as the Student Against Violent Extremism initiative that tends to deploy ideological state apparatus to change the narrative, the mindset, the thinking of people. It's a sort of a proactive step to ensure that students who are in higher institutions of learning and of course secondary schools are not enticed into the terrorist activities, and of course they should preach the gospel of peace, development and growth. That is basically what the initiative is all about.
And for the part of the youth participants, what are some key concerns and issues that they shared with you regarding violent extremism in their communities, and how do they intend to address this?
Well, you know, the issue of terrorism, particularly in the Northeast, it has so many connotations. They are both social, political, religious, and sometimes economic dimensions to the crisis. Poverty is another serious concern. However, with what the Chief of Defense Staff has done, encouraging the youth to ensure they preach the gospel of peace, the youth have embraced the call, but both naturally, you know, there are so many dimensions to the crisis, and as such, all those angles and dimensions really need to be addressed. And in fact, the Chief of Defense Staff has already identified those gaps in his books that he unveiled, a 179-page book. He titled it "Take a Stance Against Insurgency, Banditry, and Terrorism in Nigeria, Admonishing the Nigerian Youth." He has already identified that poverty is critical leeway to further compounding the insurgency. And of course, issues of social and political dimensions too really need to be addressed to ensure that people in the lecture really embrace peace and then leave all sorts of crime, violent and terrorism acts in the region for peace and stability to entrench in the region.
Well, I must say thank you. But very quickly, because we're out of time. In your fair view, with this organization or this student group that the CSO have launched, do you think that it would in any way impact the North long term?
Well, it is, because the youth are the backbone of the society, and ensuring the sustainability of this initiative is critical. It should not just be a media or something that has been launched and then all of a sudden it should fade away. There is the need for sustainability strategies, sustainability mechanism, so that even those that are yet unborn can pick up the gospel of peace and continue to preach it to others, so that everybody will live peacefully and then stability, growth, development will be witnessed.
Well, Umaru, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us. Umaru Kirawa, giving us a bit of insight following the launching of a group by the Chief of Army Staff, Christopher Musa, that can end, or rather help students against violent extremism, especially in the Northeast. Once again, Umaru, thanks.